Hey folks, it's Marvin Cash, the host of The Articulate Fly, and we're back with another Southwest Virginia fishing report with Matt Reilly of Matt Reilly Fly Fishing. How are you doing, Matt?
I'm doing great, Marvin. How are you?
I'm doing well. I imagine you've probably gotten all kinds of weather in your part of the world. Rain, snow.
Yeah, that about covers it. Thankfully it hasn't been super windy. We had all that back in January, but yeah, things are high and dirty right now.
And what does the recovery time look like?
So it obviously depends on the location and the river and all that, but the sort of high altitude, headwater streams will be, they're you can fish anything. They're fishable now, but within a day or two, they'll be pretty prime. The sort of more, middle to lower sections of our bigger trout streams are rolling pretty high right now. They're not necessarily dirty. They've got some color to them. But wading is tough, and the amount of accessible holding water for trout is pretty minimal. So, it's a good time to fish for big fish, but just know that your fishable water is reduced dramatically. If we don't get any more rain, which I don't think we're supposed to get much, by the weekend, I would think we'll be, getting back to decently wadeable, certainly by the end of the weekend. And then the bigger river, the new is a complicated beast because it's got, the upper river, Claytor Lake in the middle, and then the lower river that pulls water out of Claytor Lake. And Claytor Lake's pretty dirty right now from, sediment and everything being carried down from the upper river. And so the lower new is sucking that water out, and it's pretty muddy. The upper new is pretty muddy too, but it'll likely clear faster than the lower new just because, pretty much once runoff quits for the most part and the sediment sort of falls out, then it'll clear up. The sediment's pretty well suspended in Claytor Lake, so the lower new is going to be dealing with that for a lot longer. But I would say the upper new, again, if we don't get any rain definitely within like a week and a half or so, it should be back to pretty good. The lower new, I could see it being, week and a half, 2 weeks before it starts to clear up. But, it's always a crapshoot guessing on that.
Got it. So it seems like if you're going to go out, it's going to be throwing streamers to the banks, and maybe as it starts to fall a little bit more, kind of heavy nymphs in the softer water.
Yeah, trout fishing for sure. In fact, that's what we're going to be doing the next couple of days as it drops out a little bit. Like I said, definitely a good time to streamer fish. This, and we're on a good trend for that too. Mid-February with a decent warming trend and high water is about as perfect as you can get. And that'll, those same conditions into March, mid-March, late March will be pretty good. So I won't be too mad if the rivers, the trout streams stay full for the next month or so. But, I'd like to be able to finish muskie season strong here because, I've been pushing some trips off for a few weeks here now. So fingers crossed.
Well, there you go. And folks, we don't have any listener questions this time around because we're actually going to draw for the winner. And remember, if you sent your question in throughout the season, I sent you some Articulate Fly swag, and you're entered in this drawing that we're going to draw for right now. And before I do the drawing, Matt, why don't you tell folks what the lucky winner is going to get?
Yes, I'm going to throw together a box of flies, sort of my go-tos for mainly smallmouth, but some crossover flies in there too, and a handful of trout flies. But that'll be coming to you, and then some Reilly Rod Crafter stuff, some stickers and discount cards and that kind of thing.
Well, awesome. Do you want to give me a drum roll real quick?
Can I?
Yeah, you don't have to.
Let's see. I'll try it with the phone here.
Well, so folks,
how's that?
That's great. So, folks, the lucky winner is Alex Wood. So, Alex, if you'll message me on the Articulate Fly Facebook page, I'll get you in touch with Matt, and we'll get you hooked up. And it's not a fishing report with you, Matt, if you don't tell us what you're writing for the Rural Virginian. What do you got on the typewriter?
Yeah, so tonight I'm just kind of putting together sort of like a news collective. We've got a couple of noteworthy things going on in Virginia right now. Our state record spotted bass got turned over actually on New Year's Day this year, and it was just certified about a week ago, I believe, but it was out of Claytor Lake. So that's the previous state record was from Claytor Lake too, but I think that's makes 5 state records that the New River system has right now. So that's kind of cool. And then there's a bill being presented right now at the Capitol to propose a name change for our Virginia Department of Game and Inland Fisheries, which has actually been talked about for a decade or more, but they're looking to change it to something like the Board of Fisheries and Wildlife, or Wildlife Resources, which is sort of a move that a lot of state agencies have been going to, but basically the reasoning for that is just to sort of clear up any confusion about what game and inland fisheries covers, and also to sort of more accurately represent what the game department does, because we call it the game department or game and inland fisheries, but they do a lot of non-game wildlife work too. They represent wildlife watchers and birders and boaters and all that kind of thing in various aspects. So a new title won't change the mission of the department, but it'll make it a little broader and open up some funding avenues and that kind of thing. So kind of a big change, but it's been talked about for a while, and I think it may be a positive thing.
Well, there you go. Well, I'll drop links to those articles in the show notes. And before I let you go, why don't you let folks know where to find you so they can book you and fish with you?
Yeah, the website is mattreillyflyfishing.com, and you can email me or give me a call or text or whatever you'd like. All the info's on the website.
Well, that's great. Well, listen, folks, be safe if you go out and fish, but it sounds like you might have a good chance to catch a trophy trout. And if you decide to stay at home, check out our back catalog. We've got some really good interviews with some really interesting folks. Tight lines, everybody. Tight lines, Matt.
Tight lines, Marvin.